Hello and welcome to the Rangers Rabble. This is the final Old Firm game of the season. Some saying a dead rubber, but see you later, Lewis. Some saying a dead rubber, but others saying, "Come on, it's an Old Firm. It's never a dead rubber." I am going to be joined for this one by Graham, Lewis, and Ian. A couple of the newer boys joining for the Old Firm, which is always good to see. Graham, how are you doing?
It's a strange feeling. Waking up from the day in Old Firm and I kind of that nervous kind of feelings not there really, to be honest. So I'm looking forward to it. Still the same. And obviously, want to get the win, but I'll be watching a few of the performances closely for I keep an eye on next season.
Yeah, no, I know what you mean. I didn't go to bed nervous last night, which is always weird on an Old Firm day. But I know as soon as it starts, it'll all change, right? And you'll forget everything before, and it'll not even matter that. Lewis, how are you doing, my friend?
I must just resonate with you, man. It's usually like Christmas Eve the night before an old film, but slept like a baby last night, so the battle fever is well and truly not on today.
And Ian, how's it going?
Yeah, mate, all good. Same as everybody else. Just normal, every single normal day today. No nerves, no stress, no nothing. Just
Yeah,
waiting for kickoff to come.
yeah. My biggest stress was I've moved my desk around and yeah, just trying to fit the camera and everything back in because I forgot all about that part of it. So that was all good fun. And then forgetting I'm sitting behind a mirror, so trying to hide all that. How is everyone in chat doing? Can see a few people getting through now. See Aldo and Ewan and Callum and Curry. Always good to see the usuals. Right, so we'll jump in then. The Old Firm today. I'll bring the team up and we'll go through it and we'll have a little look. Some surprises I would say then. McCrory we knew would start because of obviously that's what Bill mentioned in his press conference. We'll start there then, Graham. I mean, listen, Bill said quite a few things that maybe have contradicted the other things he said. But it was nice to see after he's beat the drum so long about McCrory that he didn't just put him in and then drop him so McGregor could have a final hurrah against them or anything like that. He stuck to his word, and now we do get a few games to actually see what Robbie could do. And to be fair to him, whether he's going to be good or bad long term, he's never let us down so far.
Yeah, I'm glad he's playing. I think he deserved it after last week. I was quite impressed with him, although he never had too much to do. But I thought he commanded his box well, and he was off his line to stop kind of counter attacks to help the defence out that way as well. So kind of hoping for more of the same. Obviously, got experience. I think it was a couple of seasons ago in an Old Firm in a European game, kept 2 clean sheets in him as well. So hopefully his run of clean sheets continue, and that should be a good sign for today.
Yep. Yeah, absolutely. Gaz just randomly bring up. So he must have had a good week, right? If he's bringing up the Super Six, I do still do the Super Six. I just never actually check how I'm getting on in it. But we are going to bring that back with mixing it in with a couple of other shows fully next season. So do stay tuned on that one. Lewis backline pretty much picked itself to a degree. Tavernier and Goldson, I think we all sort of expected Ridvan would continue and get the nod there. The maybe one surprise was that Suter comes in again. I was about to say he's never let us down, but obviously he had that horrendous pass against him last night. But he is someone that I think can handle the big occasions. I think he has had this rustiness. He's got over long-term injuries. I do think he's a very good player. But it does look that Ben Davies isn't even on the bench. So that would say to me that whether he's picked up a niggle, I don't know. But I've actually left Davies in the team on the banner. I can just see. So I will take that out in 2 seconds. But John Suter, how are you feeling about him at the heart of defence with Goldson today?
I'm perfectly happy with him being in there. I mean, as you say, with Davies being out, it's slim pickings who you could partner Goldson with anyway. So I think Suter was always going to play with Davies being out. And barring the calamity against Celtic, I think he's been quite assured at the back when he's played, and he's got experience at this level and at this league as well. He's one of Hearts' best players whenever he actually made it onto the pitch. But I think that's his main problem is his injury status. But when he's played, he's been very solid. I mean, I would have personally still played Davies because I do like the balance, but again, you've not got that option. So I think Suter was probably the only choice.
Yeah, that's what it looks like. I know what you're saying there. It's that I swear it never used to feel like it was a big thing to have the left and right-sided centre backs. That obviously it happened, but it never felt like it was as big as it was today. But I guess with the teams playing out from the back right is it's so important to have a favoured foot player on that side. Um, he's not saying that he's not injured, by the way, CGM. He was saying he would have had Davis if he isn't injured, but obviously it wasn't an option, is actually what he said. Moving up the pitch, then Ian Lundstrom gets the nod again. I actually said this in our group chat as well when people were sort of saying it would be a Jack Raskin Cantwell. I said I do wonder, and I mean, listen, Graham thinks it might be a diamond as well, so we're going to come to that. But I said I did wonder if Cantwell's going to play further forward, and we'll go with a Lundstrom, Jack Raskin 3. I mean, it's not the most exciting 3 in the middle in terms of progressing the ball up the pitch. Raskin can do it, Jack can do it, whether he will. What are your thoughts around that sort of midfield 3? I mean, Lundstrom has not hit the heights this season at all. Thought he did okay against them last time, but it's I feel like it's a bit of a worry whenever you're seeing Lundstrom's name on the team sheet at the moment.
Yeah, but I was very much in the Jack Raskin Cantwell midfield 3. I wouldn't have had Lunny in, but like you say, played all right in the last game against them. Maybe Jack being there will give him a little bit more freedom to do what Lundstrom likes to do. Glad that Jack's in there. I was quite surprised. I didn't think he'd start. I thought he might have been on the bench just because he's just come back from injury and he has been a little bit Kemar Roof-esque and made out of glass. Every time he plays, he gets injured. Not the most exciting midfield. It's different. It's a different midfield that we've had. I think it looks like it may be, like Graham said, that diamond, which we'll talk about in a minute, or Cantwell out on the right. It looks like Fashion playing through the middle, but that terrifies me slightly. Yeah, we can only go with what we've got to pick with, and at the moment, that's all we have left. So let's hope it works. You're on mute, Stu.
Every time, honestly, I can't say how much that frustrates me when I forget to unclick that. CGM hitting the nail on the head here. This all feels so flat and old for me. I know exactly what you mean. Again, I feel like it's going to change. I've still got this optimism that when it kicks off, everything else before it goes out the window, and it'll just be an old firm game again. But we'll see. I'm not too confident in that one. Lundstrom, CGM also thinking Lundstrom might drop in and make it a back 3. Let's discuss formations quick. Then Graham, we will go through the rest of the team. But you are thinking, well, you said just backstage there that you think it might be a diamond, Cantwell at the tip, and maybe Fashion and Matondo as a 2 up top.
Yeah, I was thinking that. I was thinking Beale would be trying to combat how to get a hold of the midfield and keep McGregor quiet. So I was thinking maybe 4 diamond in the midfield to kind of make that space quite busy and give him less time. So I think that was as well. And then also there's a lot of pace up front with they two. And I think that they could kind of split and leave Cantwell space in the middle of the park as well. So I think it kind of makes sense. And obviously if we get Tav and Ridvan up high, we've kind of maybe got 6 in that midfield line. So I think we could overnumber them. So it's something to look out for, and I think it could work going with their team as well. Also, it's only really Callum McGregor and Hatate in there, so we could outnumber them with maybe 2 people. So if Rangers don't win the midfield battle, if that happens, then that's saying something.
Yeah, it's always key. I do think that's maybe what Beale, maybe not. I'm not saying the formation, but I think he's certainly picked a team to try and win the midfield battle, because the times we've lost that, it's been really prevalent that's caused massive issues for us. Which obviously Lundstrom was part of the midfield battle that lost that before, but we're going to give him a chance today. Lewis, I mean, Cantwell and Raskin, the 2 boys that seem to get a pass this season. I mean, Cantwell definitely does, because I think he's the only one that sort of Cantwell, to me, strikes me as one of those players that even if he's not going to have the best game, he's always going to be visible on the pitch. He's still going to get himself involved. He's not going to have a good game. He's going to hit someone in a tackle. He's going to try and G everyone up and get them going, which is what you do need. Raskin, Raskin's a bit of a golden boy at the moment, and I was like fully in love with Raskin, but someone has pointed out recently that he's maybe not been as good as I think he's been. which is fine because I still think he's been good. And I think with Raskin, there's enough about him. We can tell that he's a quality player. We can tell he's going to be very, very good. And this season, it's just about getting these two sort of integrated in the squad and gelled. But how much are you looking for out of Raskin and Cantwell in particular today? In a match that maybe people aren't that up for at the moment. But in terms of next season, it is good to just lay down a little marker and just remind them that we're still here and next season's going to be different.
Well, I think Cantwell's certainly got it in him to draw some excitement for a game that we don't expect too much excitement from, to be honest. I think he's that type of character, as you say. If he doesn't perform well in the game itself, he'll definitely be laying down a marker in terms of tackling and geeing up the fans and getting everybody going. I think he's covered his selling glory. Raskin showed signs, but I think there is more to come. And the Chelsea comments kind of irritate me a wee bit. I think you just came to one of the biggest clubs in Europe, understanding our financial standing maybe isn't as high as somebody like Chelsea, but just get your feet planted here first. Perform to the standards that you obviously hold yourself high enough towards, and then start making comments about moving to the Premier League. But they are obviously the two players right now you would think that Beale would want to build his team around, and it would be a big psychological boost for the fan base and the team itself if they two were part of a winning side today. Definitely.
Yeah. Yep, absolutely. Can't argue with that. I did see someone, I mean, this would be right up Graham Street, by the way. Someone just Gordon suggested a Cantwell false 9 option here. Graham will be all over that, by the way. I love that. So final two positions for the starting lineup, and we'll look a bit more into the match and the subs and maybe just touch on what they're sort of lining up with in terms of the mentality for the season. Ian Matondo gets another start, and again, I think this is something that I can appreciate in what Michael Beale's doing here, because we have to see these players. There's no good playing that, I'd say tried and tested, right? But there's no point in playing guys that either aren't going to be here next season or he doesn't think are good enough. And whether he thinks Matondo is good enough, we don't know, but he's certainly got to find out. And if you can't trust Matondo, McCrory in this game, then there's no point for him, because you're not going to keep, especially Matondo, you're not going to keep a high wage player to just play Livingston and Kilmarnock. They have to show up in these games as well, and it's a great opportunity for Matondo, who has looked bright in flashes since he's come back from injury, and he's got a small little run in the team. Possibly going to be playing on his favoured left side, possibly up front if Graham's right, but a real big opportunity for Matondo today.
Yeah, I mean, he had to carry on playing Matondo, otherwise what message does it send to him? There's no one really else to play on the left-hand side. It's him and Kent. So if he drops him out for this game because he doesn't trust him, then Matondo knows everything he needs to know about whether he's here or not next season. I like Matondo, I'm not going to lie. I've championed Matondo a fair bit. I'd like to see him today just turn up, have no fear, and just run at them. Because the one thing he has got is burning pace. And I think if you can turn that back line, they'll panic. I mean, they haven't got their big man in the middle today. Carter Vickers is their mainstay. He's not there to hold them all together. So just use your pace, Rabbi. Get at them and put the living fear in them. We've got enough fear ourselves with who could possibly be in the middle. Hopefully he doesn't get an open goal today, because he'll miss that. But I don't know. It's got to be interesting to see how we line up. I mean, if Graham is right and Matondo is playing out front, it could be an interesting day.
Yep. Cammy is saying, Lewis, apparently Cammy knows you. Don't know where he knows your face from, but he knows your face from somewhere. Who knows, eh? Cammy gets about, so it could be anywhere. It could be absolutely anywhere. Finally, then, Graham, Matondo, fashion Sakala up top. Like Ian said, burning pace, like Matondo has as well. Does cause them problems, to be fair. We always say he doesn't know what he's going to do. How does anyone else know what he's going to do? He might beat the whole team and then run the ball out of play. He might bobble the ball all over his legs and smash it in the top corner. You just don't know what you're going to get. Is Beale's thinking here? He can't possibly miss 3 open goals in a row against them. So, eventually the percentage, the probability has to turn in his favour.
Yeah, I was going to say, I hope it's his second half performance at Ibrox. I think it was Beale's first goal for him. I hope it's a performance like that, because he had, I think it was Greg Taylor that day, on toast and scared, and the amount of chances in behind he got. I hope it's similar to that performance. I've always feel confident when we've got pace over the years. When you look at Lovenkrands, Kanigia, or the Novo, or the kind of players, we've always kind of done well when we've got pace in the team. So I'm hoping that's going to be a good sign. Just hope they're up for it and on it, and they've been practicing finishing through the week. And that should maybe help them get into the game today.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, just touching on their team really quick. I obviously don't want to spend too much time talking about them, but it does seem that Lewis, they've got a few enforced changes. It does seem they're also, and listen, I don't know his thinking behind this. I don't know if it's, if they turn up and beat us with changes, then or even avoid defeat, then we haven't beaten this season with, despite them having these changes. And at the same time, if they do beat us, they can celebrate even more. Doesn't really matter to us because we've got our job to do. But their team is Hart, back four of Ralston, Kobayashi, Starfelt, Burnaby, McGregor, Hatate, O'Reilly, Abada and Jota out wide, and O up front, the Korean striker. The one thing that sticks out to me is it's a very inexperienced defence. The left back, the Argentinian left back, is a bit nuts. I don't know if this is a South American trait, but they do also, a few of them do seem to have this sort of trait that runs through them. Starfelt, listen, I think we all feel like we can get at Starfelt, especially without Carter Vickers next to him. Kobayashi, don't know too much about him because he doesn't play much. And Ralston, listen, we know Ralston is a limited player, but like any fan of his club, he'll give 100%, which is what you expect. That is a defence, though, that Bill's got to be able to get the team up for and get at, because you can absolutely hurt them. And especially with them, I'd be surprised if that defence has played together, and if it has, probably once or twice. So definitely something that we can hopefully exploit.
Well, it doesn't fill me with much confidence. I mean, I was on the pod on Thursday and we were discussing Celtic's defence, and it's like their defence isn't the problem, because Carter Vickers aside, I don't think they'll get many world beaters, even if all their first choices are in there. The problem is our offence. I don't have any confidence in our starters, and our starters aren't even playing, so how am I going to have confidence in our second string? But I understand where you're coming from. There is a lot of inexperience in that back line, and if the two speed demons are at it today, then we should get a few opportunities. Obviously, like Ian said, barring there's not an open goal for Sakala, because he seems to finish the impossible chances but miss the easy ones. So hopefully we get a few opportunities.
Yeah, that's all I can stand talking about them. So we'll go back to Rangers. Looking at the bench, Ian, McGregor as expected, Hadji, Kamara on the bench again. That's a couple in a row for Kamara. I mean, whether that's just to fill a spot, I don't know. Whether they actually get on. Morelos, I think we're probably going to see Morelos at some point today, if I'm completely honest. Arfield, that goes with the sort of experience of the team on the bench. And then you've got the youngsters, King, Devine, Lowry and Lovelace. Good to see. I mean, listen, we'll talk about Lowry because he's obviously still a big hope for a lot of us, but it's really good to see Zach Lovelace on the bench, especially after, a guy that's making his championship debut in England at 15 years old and has come up with all the hype. And by all means, he's done fantastic in the B team. Obviously, there's things he's got to work on. He's very young, but it is good to see, even in a big game like this, that Bill's trusting him to be on the bench. I mean, listen, he's probably not expected to come on, but it's good to see his face there and have him start integrating with the first team.
Yeah, I mean, I don't get much opportunity down here to see the B team, but I did watch the Glasgow Cup final on YouTube the other night, and apart from that 11-minute blackout that they were torn apart by, I thought Lovelace was decent. I mean, his finish in the second half was good, and he put himself about, strong. Like you said, I don't think he'll get on if we're in a losing position, but if we are winning, and we got the time, bring him on and see what he can do. I would. I think we will see Morelos. Out of the ones there, unless there's an injury, I don't expect to see King or Devine come on. Maybe Lowry, but Lovelace is the one I would give a minutes to today if things are going well. If they're not going well, then you're looking at it's going to be Arfield, Morelos, Hadji, and Kamara. I don't see him using the youth if it's not going well.
Yeah, I'm going to just shoot for a few comments because a few good ones came in. I'm going to go on rogue. I'm going to bring yours up in a second for Graham. DK's saying Lowry's weak, was getting pushed over in the cup final. No chance he's going to make it, and Weston couldn't get a game for Co. Yeah, I mean, listen, Lowry is. I think he's someone that has all the talent. It's going to be very interesting to see how he develops into next season, because I think it's going to be a big sort of next 6 to 8 months. I think is going to be huge for Lowry's Rangers future. CGM annoyed that Bailey raced away with Scotland. I will bring this back to you then, Graham. A lot of talk goes about Lowry, Lovelace from myself. Bailey Royce, I don't want to say this, but he almost looks ready. Do you know what I mean? He has that thing about him that you just think he's gonna be a big player, and whether that's with us, we don't know. But he's someone that I think is going to get minutes next season for sure. He already looks years ahead of his age, doesn't he?
Yeah, it's one thing I'm looking forward to the pre-season, because I think he'll definitely be away with the first team this pre-season. The boy, he's got so much composure on the ball. Seems to find plenty of time on the ball as well, and I think he's definitely ready. And it's a pity he's away with the under-17s, I believe it is, or else I think he'd be on the bench today in front of Kamara. So it is a shame. It'd be a great experience for him. But like Ian was saying there about some of the players would maybe not get on if we're getting beat. Today's one of the ones I wouldn't care if we're getting beat. I want to see them. I think the result doesn't really matter, as in going for a league title or anything like that. So I'd rather see the boys get a chance, get that experience, that maybe gives them a wee bit of confidence if they do well in the game, and could take them into next season as well. So even if we're getting beat, I'd like to see Lovelace and especially Lowry come on and strut their stuff and see if they can handle the pressure in front of a full packed Ibrox. They'll probably be mooring if we're getting beat, or just thrive off it, the fans cheering and bouncing about if we're winning. So I think it'd be a great experience for the both of them.
Yeah, definitely. Lewis Gone Rogue is saying, I see the likes of Goldson and Suter pumping high balls over the top. 2 wingers to run onto. Cantwell getting second balls like Arfield gets. I mean, listen, we know Goldson's ability in sort of knocking those long diagonals over the top, usually for Ryan Kent, but listen, I'm sure it'll work with any pacey winger. John Suter as well. He's most of the time I've seen he's an accurate passer, both short and long, apart from when he's got a pass back to the keeper. But it's definitely a tactic I can see, because from what I remember, yes, 2 seasons ago or 55 season, but Ralston was getting caught up the pitch a lot before with these. You know, it became a sort of one of our sort of party tricks. Goldson's long diagonal. Everyone knew he was going to do it, yet teams still struggled to really cope with it. And I think today it's something that we will. I mean, we see a lot of it anyway, but it's something that I think could be really effective today.
I think it would have been effective anyway, but if Graham's right with his formation, I think that's probably the main go-to with they two up top. I mean, they two will love that, just sprinting in behind, and I think the 3 main centre-backs we have at the club are all pretty half-decent ball-playing centre-backs anyway, and other than obviously Suter being right-footed on the left, it might hinder him a wee bit of doing it to the other side of the pitch. But other than that, I think it's definitely a tactic that we should employ today, especially with that inexperienced Celtic backline. I think we could see some fruits for that.
Yep. Yeah. Just going through some more comments. CGM, not the first person I've seen compare Bailey Royce to Matic, by the way. I've seen a few people say that as well. It's a good comparison. Hugo Bear saying Royce should be in the first team next season. Someone else said, yeah, it is Bailey Royce we're talking about. Graham. I missed one. Can't remember where it is. Oh, Michelle, there it is. Michelle saying, will Suter play on the right side? Imagine Suter will be on the left and Goldson on the right. It's a bit unfortunate for Suter because he's going to play wherever Davis or Goldson aren't, basically. Whoever misses out is where Suter will play. But I think it's good enough to cope with either side. Aldo saying he thinks Sakala scoring today. Ian, listen, it's not beyond the Rams' possibility. He scored a cracker against them before. Sakala does give you numbers. I know I think we're all a bit fed up with. Listen, before you guys, when in the sort of older rabble days of Graham will know, when I say older rabble days, it's only a couple of seasons ago, but Sakala joined the club and everyone was saying he's raw. You got to remember he's raw, and we used to say he's 24. So I don't know how long you can be raw for before that's actually who you are as a player. But he is someone that does give you numbers, and we have to remember that. I think a few of us, and myself included, I was turned for a little bit by saying I still don't think he's the greatest player in the world, but he's worth keeping around on the wage he's probably on, and the numbers he does give you. So it is hit and miss. It is 50-50. Long term, this is not a game you want Sakala really probably starting in, but he's always a threat. And I can see Aldo's thinking here that it wouldn't shock me basically if Sakala is on the score sheet today and it's a screamer.
Oh no, it just depends which Sakala turns up. I mean, if it's heel Sakala who's in about creating mischief like he did at the New Year's Old Firm, where he tore him apart and he was pretty much unplayable, and they didn't know what to do with him. If it's that sort of Sakala, I can see him picking the ball up, running past 2 or 3, and then pinging one in the top corner. But if it's Hamden Sakala, then I'm really worried that the ball might end up in Asda car park, and a few cars getting the windows put in when he does it. But I do like Sakala. I don't think for the long term he will be with us. I was there for the Real Madrid game, and when I was sat there, and everyone around me was like, "Going, this guy's got some pace. If we can make him, mold him, we can make him a brilliant striker." It's been a couple of seasons now; it still hasn't happened. But you can't not love him, can you? It's just he turns around, says something, smiles, and that's it. No, I'm in love with you again. Fashion is fine.
Yeah. I mean, to a degree, it's just I think when the second Old Firm open goal missed, that smile started to become a bit frustrating for people. I did see a good point that just brought me crashing back down to earth from DC. Graham, Sakala's been anonymous whenever he's at the. I've literally said this myself as well. And for a second, I forgot that I know you're thinking possibly a 2 up top, but from the formation suggests it's the usual 4-3-3. This is bang on. He has been absolutely anonymous. I don't know. I assume that's where he played in Belgium. I know Zambia use him on the left a lot, so he does play out wide a lot, and I think that's where he does his best damage. But that has dampened my spirits a little bit because I have just remembered that the boy who loves being offside, being the furthest forward, and just football brain wise, is he got enough to really give defenders enough to think about coming to get the ball, with back to goal? Is he going to do that, or are we going to try and play in a way that lets him just turn and get over the top and, as I said before, possibly be offside a million times today?
Yeah, I hope he's kind of out wide or kind of the split strikers. We maybe can't like someone was saying, like a false 9 attacking midfield kind of role, because when he's playing through the middle himself, he's not the kind of person that can take the ball in and maybe pin it back out to Tavernier out wide and then get back in the box. And one thing I'll say that I'll definitely be doing, if he scores today, I'll not be celebrating too early until they've said there's no VAR. That's for sure. I'm not falling for that one again. But I hope they go out and just kind of give it their all. And I think the midfield, I'm quite getting a wee bit excited now and getting a wee bit more confident that I've seen the midfield. I think we can overrun them, hopefully, for once, and take control of the game. And I think as long as we can maybe invite them out a wee bit and then get the space in behind, I think that's what we'll be trying to do for Matondo and Sakala. Get in there behind and one-on-one with the goalkeeper, and hopefully they've been training in midweek to get a few goals and we can end the season happy a wee bit.
Yep. Gary's put on a big point. Still nervous. It's the derby game. We're treated like no other, even if River Plate or Boca won the league. They don't want beat on their own patch against rivals. People not interested in game in the Rangers fan. I can understand that. By the way, if you saw the River Boca Plate game the other night, boring game, but 97th minute penalty, I think it was, for River Plate, won at 1-0, and then about 10 players got sent off in the aftermath. So absolutely fantastic. I'll take a 1-0 97th minute with 10 players sent off in this one, to be honest. Who else has said one? Lewis DK has said, "Who's going to score for us? Who's going to break the lines? Hadji or Arfield should have started." I think Arfield is someone now that, like Scott Wright, they're very good players from the bench, and this is a skill, by the way. I know the super sub thing gets banned about that. I think it's a talent to be able to come on and influence a game from the bench. Not everyone can do it. They get sort of lost in the speed of the game. So I think Arthur's very good for that. Never really that confident when he's starting. Now, like before, obviously, but now he's a bit older and the legs aren't as good as they were. Still a big player. So I think we will see him today, if I'm honest. In terms of breaking the lines and scoring, with Cantwell further forward, is that what we're hoping from him?
I think we all hope so. The only problem I have with the lineup is, I thought we would have learned from previous mistakes. I think you've got three very similarly defensively minded midfielders. I know Raskin and Jack are more than capable of taking the ball forward, but it's not their first port of call. I think both of them kind of have defensive safety at the back of their mind. So you need somebody to link the defence and the attack, and I don't know if there's somebody in there, because I quite like having Cantwell a wee bit further back. Kind of like how Aribo was for us, that creative midfielder in the middle. I do like him further forward as well, but I mean, you could have brought him back and put Arfield in there. And I know, as you say, Arfield's not the greatest of starters nowadays, but I think this is probably the one fixture I wouldn't be obliged to have Arfield as that number 10, because he definitely gets it and he knows what it means to pull that shirt on against other mobs. So I think Cantwell is probably our biggest hope, to be honest, in terms of scoring. I'm not a fan of Sakala up there, and Matondo hasn't scored all season, so I don't have much faith in him either.
Yeah, well, to be fair, I'm not sure how Matondo hasn't scored, because I'm still trying to work out how that ball never went in against Aberdeen. It's just sort of defied physics a little bit. Starting to sort of wrap it up, then Ian, so everyone can get away, get their drinks ready, get settled. I'll be honest, just talking about the game, I am a little bit all up for it now. I am starting to get into it now, and there's a few nerves, because do you know what? We actually haven't beaten this season, and like I said before, it is really good to lay a marker for next season, just to give them something to think about, and listen, their fans will wipe it off as, well, we didn't start Kyogo, so it doesn't matter. This is your big moment, and they'll use it against us, of course, but we can sow seeds of doubt, and the way I think about this is during 55. That last game where I think we drew it against them, but they offered nothing, absolutely nothing. You could tell that team was about to go through a revamp as well, because those players just didn't look like they cared. And today is an opportunity for these guys a last opportunity for some of them to show Midfield that they do care. They do want to be here next season and be part of what is going to be massive changes, but more importantly, be part of a very strong, hopeful title race.
Yeah, well, this game for Beale is like a hide into nothing, isn't it? If we win it, you're just going to get the usual. It doesn't really matter. It's a dead rubber. They'd already won the title. It means nothing. But if he loses it, he's under pressure. He's got to go. He can't beat them. So the Beale's on a hide into nothing when it comes to this game. For the players, they've got to give it and leave everything out on that park. If they want to stay here, they need to show that they want to be here. And going out there and just half-assing it and hoping that they get a win is not going to do it. One thing I was thinking of with Jack starting, maybe Tavernier is going to get his wish and play out front. Jack plays at right back. Tavernier plays the false 9. You never know. You just never know.
I'd be very surprised if this is the game he's gonna go with it in. So Graham, bringing it to an end, then Ian's mentioned that these are, and we've touched on it at the very start. These are not dead rubbers. It's more of a dead rubber for them, I think, because of they've wrapped everything up right. But this in terms of the players on the pitch and for some of them, like I said, that aren't going to be here next season, it's the last chance to go and show the fans that they do care about them and us and the club and everything that's gone before it. And one last chance to, it reminds me of the real dark days of when we first got back into the Premiership, and we just couldn't beat them. A draw was a celebration for us, and it doesn't feel right to go through a season without beating them. And I know obviously where we've been and where we've come back to, but that should never be the case. Any season, it shouldn't. I mean, we shouldn't even be happy with one win, of course, but I actually think today is really important to win. It's very important to win, and I'm not saying Bill would be under pressure if he doesn't. I know he will from some sort of social media aspects and the media. I don't think for me he would be under pressure unless it's an absolute tanking. But I do think it's very important that he beats this mob as soon as he can.
Yeah, the longer we've been doing this podcast, I'm getting more kind of up for it, and the nerves are kicking a wee bit, and I'm actually getting a wee bit more confident as well. So I hope it is one of the games where we go out. The players are up for it. They know they need to give fans something to kind of cheer this season. The dark days, they were brutal, getting beat 5 and that. We need to put a marker down, get players kind of the ones that if Beale knows are going to stay, a good performance and play that marker and just give the fans something to cheer about today. That's what I'm wanting. Just to feel happy after the game and kind of maybe even be able to watch a game back and enjoy the atmosphere again and stuff like that. So I really hope the players realise that the fans have been there this season, supported them, and it's the last Old Firm of the season. We need to get the win and they go out and give it their all. So that's all we can ask as fans.
100%. So I'm going to go on to predictions. So before everyone slams their predictions in the chat, I'm going to need you to like and subscribe. If you're on your mobile, you may have to just cross off. There's like a little X button just below the video, and it will say like the chat with the live comments. If you put the X, the chat will disappear. You can like, and then you can bring the live chat straight back up, and everything's good to go. We're sponsored by Let Me Repair UK, so check them out if you need any of their facilities that they offer, of course, and we do have the Patreon with loads of extra content and not just football content. I'm going to get this all in now because I'm either going to be too happy or too depressed afterwards to remember to do any of it, and Martin will kill me. So predictions. Graham, can you give me a prediction and a first goal scorer? And everyone in chat, do the same for me, please, and I'll pop them up on the screen.
I was on last night. I'm going to stick with it. 2-0 Rangers and my usual. I got it last week, so I think he's going to go on a run now. Todd Cantwell screamer.
You were very close at the first time you predicted it. I remember off the crossbar. Lewis, what's your prediction and first goal scorer, please?
I promise I was not copying Graham, but I swear 2-0 Cantwell. It's been in my head all day, so hopefully that's a sign.
Yeah, this could very well be a sign. Ian, what are we going with? Tav first goal scorer, is he your number 9?
No, I'm not going Tav first goal scorer. I am going to go for something. We've not had one of these in a while. We'll have a 4-2 and Matondo. I'm having it.
Matondo, there we go. Aldo saying 3-1. Raskin screaming. A lot of people going with the screamers today. David Jackson, I think they will score first, unfortunately, but still 2-1 to us. We like that. We like that, David, and no problem with that at all. We always concede first anyway, so it's par for the course at this point. Gone Rogue, 3-0 Rangers. Ryan Jack, that'd be nice to see, of course. Paul's going 2 or 3-0. Cantwell, Raskin, possibly Jack. He's going for all the midfield to score here. No one really having the confidence in fashion at the moment. Then Curry comes in a 4-1 with a fashion hattie, and Todd Cantwell to get a goal as well. Philip wants Havoc, he said. 3-1, Cantwell to get sent off. McGregor stretch it off. Matt Gunner has gone 3-1 Rangers. Jack and Ralston to get booked. Both teams. He's giving you odds and everything, this one. Matt's like, this is like in the TalkSport, get the old bloody Paddy Power guys in to have a chat with you. But there you go, lads. If anyone fancies a 450 to 1, Matt's giving you all the information there. So we will leave it there, everyone. I think we, of course, will be back after the game when we win and we can have a good chat. Either way, Aldo is going to have his hands full, I think, in the chat after the game, win or lose, as always is the case when we play them, unfortunately. But we will leave it there. So thank you very much, everyone, for joining us. Thank you for Graham, Lewis, and Ian for jumping on and joining me. I think we've got our own substitutes coming in, I think, for full time. I think 1 or 2 change. I can't really remember, but we'll see. We'll see who turns up after the 90 minutes. But thank you everyone very much, and we will catch you after the game. Come on, Rangers.